Good afternoon, this is Chris Ogle, and this is another Link4Growth Soundbite, Session 7, and this afternoon I've got the pleasure of Ruth Raymer's company. Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Chris. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and today's soundbite is all about the Link4Growth community forums, and I'm really excited about this because for about a year and a half I've been extolling the virtues of our Link4Growth forum, and I have to say with limited success, but since you've popped on the scene we've had some significant improvements in engagement on the forums, which is fantastic.
Good.
And what I thought would be a really good idea would be to just explain to people how you discovered Link4Growth, because this is not the normal route. I'm not encouraging people to take this option, but if you could just tell us how you actually found out about Link4Growth in the first place.
Okay, well, Link4Growth came to me by my little brother, Ben Hemp. Ben has been telling me all about Link4Growth for some months now, and telling me what a wonderful thing it is and how I really ought to get involved, and how sad it is there's nothing over here in Essex. So I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to go and pop onto these forums and have a look and see what's going on. Being an old forum hand, so I popped on. And to be truthful, if Ben hadn't been my brother, I might well have just popped straight back off again. I've been involved with forums one way or another for over 10 years now, and there weren't many people about. It's a bit like a ghost town, so it needed a bit of pumping up. So I spoke to Nikki Pepper. Nikki passed me on to you, and here I am. Yeah,
Nikki forwarded on the email that you sent to me, which was about your, if that, first impressions of the community forums, and it's one of those things, isn't it? A forum, when you start a forum, it's quite a challenge to get to a kind of critical mass where enough engagement is happening from enough different people that it doesn't just seem like a clique of about 6 to 10 people who all seem to be talking to each other and no one is on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think key here is the fact that there needs to be someone who's around and who can say hello. Someone comes knocking on your front door, you don't just stand there waiting for them to do whatever they're going to do. You invite them in, you shake their hand, and you show them where the tea and the coffee is. So that's what I'm here to do now.
Excellent stuff. And to be honest, I've had an email from the people who host the forum telling me they're putting our charges up because of our increased bandwidth usage. So if you wanted any kind of testimony to the effect you've had already in the 2 weeks, I think it's only been 2 weeks.
It is just 2 weeks, yes.
The impact has been fairly substantial. So many congratulations on what has been an excellent start.
Wonderful.
Good stuff. So you came through that route. Now, a lot of people, and I've been explaining this for quite a while, the forums are kind of, what's the word for it, the kind of glue between the bricks. It's a very important thing because it allows the continuation of connections that have been made after perhaps the physical event has taken place. And I've been banging on about this for over a year, but it appears that, you know, I've been a bit of a lone voice in the wilderness, because until people actually go on there and actually start to derive a benefit, they'll do what you did, which is they'll go on, they'll say, well, there's not much going on here, and they're off again as quickly as they're on. And they might go to the events, but the events only happen once a month. So if someone misses a month and they don't go to any other events, it could be 2 or 3 months before they see that person again. Well, that's just not enough. So what's the power of the forums? I mean, how do you see it with your 10 years experience now on forums?
Yep, it's over 10 years I've been either working on or taking part in forums. Now, from my point of view, forums are absolutely the glue that holds the community together, because geographical boundaries don't exist. we look at Facebook, and that's a very good example of where geographical boundaries have completely dissipated. They're gone. But it's very public. Now, a forum, on the other hand, is very focused. It's a family. It's a tight-knit community. It's not like you're speaking to the world. You're speaking to people who have the same experiences as you. They have the same problems as you. And someone, somewhere on that forum, will be able to answer almost any question you've got about your niche, because they've been there too. Now, that only works if people actually do the talking. Now, I know forums can be a bit daunting when you first log on and you see a long list of forum sections. But if you take the time just to click through them, even if you spend a week clicking on links and looking at the different subjects within that forum, you will find something that's of interest to you, because you're looking at the words of like-minded people. It is a place to form relationships, be they business relationships or social, and usually both. It's a place where people who you don't see at meetings can get to know you from a business point of view, but also from a personal point of view. But it's a place where those people who you see at meetings can learn even more about you and deepen those connections that you've already made.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and something that I've been doing, which I believe works, is that, as you're probably aware, when we host a coffee event or a drinks event, the people that have attended that are new, and they new to Link4Growth, we automatically add those people to the forums and send them a temporary username and password. Now, an example is this morning where there were a couple of new people there, and I actually said to them, right, you need to speak to X, Y, Z, and you need to speak to this person and that person. Now, I know all those people are on the forum. I know they are. So I can put them into the forum, I can then send them a personal message, and I can link them up with all the other people that I promised to connect them with. And I can do it all very easily via the forum, because all those people are on the forum. Whereas otherwise I'd have to say, right, okay, well, I know such and such is on LinkedIn, and I know such and such is on Facebook, and I know such and such is on Twitter, and I'd end up having to spend a lot longer trying to continue that connection, and that's really, really useful, because that way I bring them into the community as well, and they can have a look around while they're there. They can get connected. They can start building those connections. There's a common link, which is me, between those two people, and it really starts to help them. I always tell them now to connect with you, so you can start to guide them to the right places. So,
and everyone that joins. So everyone that joins the forum now also gets a message from me welcoming them and giving them a handshake. Brilliant.
And you're pointing them at perhaps things that they might like to look at, I presume, at the same time.
Yeah, I'm offering links to areas of the forum that I feel may be of interest to them, having already been introduced via their district leader or by yourself. Also pointing them at the benefits of subscription via the groups and blogs that are only available to subscribers.
Right, okay. And that brings us very neatly on to a very important question, which is, what is the difference between a forum, a group, and a blog? Now, I get asked this all the time, because people go on the forum, and like you just said a little bit earlier, it looks quite daunting. And I know some people, if they're quite new and they're not quite sure of themselves, they might find the forum are quite a daunting. It's a bit like going into a room of people, full of people, and I'm not quite sure what to do here. So you end up keeping very close to the wall and walking out, and then thinking, wow, I got out without getting hurt. That was good. But you didn't actually achieve anything either. And so one of the questions that people say to me is, look, there's a lot on there, Chris. There's an awful lot on there. What can I do, and what's the difference between these things? So can you simply explain the difference for them?
I surely can. Okay, so when you first arrive, one of the first things that you do is you're presented with a profile form. And a lot of people skip past that one and they hit the forum. Now the forum itself, it's a very quick way to communicate with people. It means you can put up a question, go away, come back 5 hours later, and the chances are someone will have seen it and made a comment. If you want to have a more deep and meaningful conversation, you can do that on the forum. But perhaps the best way to do it is via a group, which is a much more focused area. It's an area where you have a smaller membership, so there may only be maybe half a dozen members, maybe 30 members in a group, but their conversation will be entirely focused on one subject area or within one district.
Okay.
So that's sort of a bit more deepening, bit more relationship building. But a blog, now a blog is your shop window, if you like. You can literally sit in there and blow your own trumpet. You can talk about anything you want. You can talk about, oh, I don't know, you're giving up smoking, or you're doing the Land's End to John O'Groats cycle ride, or you're doing some other fundraising, or what you do in your business, but it's very focused on you personally.
Okay.
It's about you, it's by you, and essentially it's for you, but other people get to have an insight about you by looking at your blog, and they can comment on it if you've allowed them to comment. You have a choice to do that or not. Groups expands that just a little bit. You've got a smaller amount of people looking at your posts, and you're all focused on one area. The forum, anything goes within reason.
Right, okay, and I mean, I think that's a good summary, if I've got it right. The forum itself is kind of, it's an open to anybody to participate and get involved and discuss, and those subjects can be very broad. There's things like business forum, there's one on social media, for example, and then in the groups we've got things like wine, we've got food, we've got art and craft type areas, and people are going to be interested in those groups and participate because it's something that they want to either learn about, or they know about, or they've got something to share. And yet a blog is where people can really sort of, they're on their own really, but they can talk about what they're interested in directly rather than be steered or guided by any other part of the forum.
Absolutely. The wider communication is done on the forum.
Right.
And then it steps down slightly through the groups until it's just you on your blog.
Right, okay. And what else can we do on the forum? Is there, I mean, there's personal messaging. Is there anything else?
Yep. We've got personal messaging where you can speak directly to any other member. And you'll find personal messaging, it's actually called private messaging on the forum. You'll find that under the forum tab, and there is also the What's New tab will let you look at anything that's been posted on the forum in probably about the last 24 hours, although depending on the amount of activity that there's been, it might be less than that at the time. So we can also build relationships via different areas of the forum. There's a public area which is open to all members, but then there are areas that are open only to subscribers. I'm sat here and I'm flicking through them on my other computer screen as I'm talking to you.
Right.
So there are things that are only open to subscriber areas that allow you that little bit extra communication.
Okay, we've set a couple of new ones up, partially on your recommendation. There's one that's to do with subscribers being able to, because I've heard from a lot of people in the community where they say, I'd like to offer the people in the community who are also participating in giving and supportive, because that's the nature of the people, I'd like to give them a little bit of a special deal, or I've got something that I'd like to offer to the community. So we've done something about that, haven't we?
And people have done this in various places on the forum, and even in some of the groups and even some blogs, members have posted offers for other members. However, we thought that perhaps it would be a good idea to make that a more focused area, and we've set up a special part on the forum for subscriber special offers.
Right.
Now, in that area, people can post their special offers for other subscribers, for other people on the forum. You decide what your offer is, you decide how long it will run for, you decide when it's completed. All that we ask is that when an offer is completed, you do post on the forum and let people know that it's finished. Saves a lot of embarrassment for you by having to say to people, actually that finished 3 months ago, because you didn't come and just post a little note saying it's finished now and thank you very much. For people that take advantage of those offers, what we're asking them to do is to pay forward, and make sure that they give feedback to the person whose offer they've taken up, be that in the form of a testimonial in something that they've got on their website in a public area or on the forum. We ask that you give feedback in the form of constructive criticism if you feel that it's warranted. But most of all, pay it forward and put your own offer in time when you're in a position to do so.
Yeah, I think that's going to really work well, because I already know a few people in the community who've suggested that they'd like to put some like a coaching deal together for people in the community, people who are offering some kind of service like massage or Reiki or something where they're prepared to, in the interests of building up their client base or getting referrals or recommendations, to actually give an offer to like-minded people.
It's well known that the lifeblood of small business is recommendation.
Yeah.
So we all need to build up a reputation, and that can be a slow old business sometimes, and this area will help members to do that a little more expeditiously. They'll be able to encourage people to take up their goods and their services and to give feedback from them.
Brilliant. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about the forums? Is there anything that you've kind of, in your short tenure, that you've spotted that you think's worth mentioning before we sort of close out here?
Okay, I think you know what I'm going to say here. I'm going to say profiles. People, please, your profile is your shop window on the forum. This is your chance to tell everyone, okay, what you do, what you enjoy doing, what your business is, but most importantly, the challenges that you can help other people to solve, the goals you can help them to meet, the problems you can help them towards working out. If you don't use keywords that people are going to use when they're searching for the resolutions to those problems or their challenges or their goals, you're going to miss out. It's very important when you're composing a profile, use those words. And please do think about putting a picture on, because we all, as human beings, will tend to prefer to deal with a person whose face we know than someone who doesn't. So if two results come up in a search, one with a picture, one without, I'll almost guarantee you the person who's got a picture on their profile will get the business.
Yeah, that's a very important point. The pictures, and there's two pictures that need to be uploaded. There's one for the profile and there's one for an avatar. They can be the same. Avatar. They can be the same, but they are both required to sort of have maximum impact. I mean, that we have actually done a video just explaining to people why their profile is so crucial, and that has actually gone up now. You have actually put that up there, so
it's there waiting for people to see.
Okay, brilliant stuff. All right, well, look, I think it's been fantastic. I mean, it was a breath of fresh air that you come on the scene and you helping us to sort this out, and I suspect that all the members will be incredibly appreciative, because it's like you don't know what we're missing until it's really working, and then we will probably turn around and say, cool, if we didn't have this, it'd be a disaster. But you don't know that until you've got it and you really appreciate it, and that's what you're bringing bringing to the community now. So that's fantastic.
I suppose the other thing to say is that remember this can be a social thing as well. You know, it doesn't all have to be talk about business. Somebody posted a recipe for almond milk the other day, and I'm sure I've been wondering how you milk an almond for a long time. Now I know.
Yeah, I have to lay claim to that little post. Brilliant stuff. Well, look, thanks very much for sparing the time to join us and go through this. I think once people start to really get engaged on the forum, they'll really find it an indispensable tool for lots of different reasons. And you know, the background behind Link4Growth is all about collaboration, sharing, supporting, and a forum's just absolutely essential, and we've just got to get on and everybody play their part.
Yep. My inbox is always open if people have got suggestions, things that they'd like to see. We're always open to suggestions. We'll always look at them. And if you've got a problem, send me a private message. You know, I'm almost always around and quite happy to help.
Excellent. All right, look, thanks ever so much, Ruth, and I will see you on the forum.
Okie dokie. Bye for now.